All right, good evening, everyone. It's going to be a short video over the group activities for lesson one. So first thing you do, log into Blackboard, go to the lesson one group activities right here. Make sure you read everything, respond to your classmates, give it at least two, respond to at least two classmates, good critique of their code. Post your code for each exercise, follow the guidelines. The template's already posted in the announcements. Download the template and use it. Here we have two requirements. There's two separate scripts. We're going to go ahead and cut and paste that. Helpful hint, running the program in the console, automatically program completes, blah, 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 blah. Here's how to, this is in the template as well, how to make sure your script doesn't close. So let's jump right into it. So we'll go to setup idle. So on the right side, I have the shell output, and the left side, we have what we're going to do. So the purpose, make sure when you use the template, you fill it all in properly. You save the proper name. You create the proper file name here. This is a group lab, so it's not individual lab, it's GR. Group lab, lesson one, and last name, first initial. In this case, mine is White and Z. And once you do that, all you do is copy it, file, save as, and then you could dump it like that and hit save. I already have one saved, so I'm going to call mine Group Lab 2. Yours will be just Group Lab. So I cut and paste the requirements. I'm going to triple quote, paste. No, I already cut that, so let me go back and get it again. Cut and paste the name, so I overrode the buffer. There you go. Another triple quote home. Now what I'll do here is I'll just hit enter so it all fits on one screen so we can read it. Okay, so there's two scripts. You could write them both in the same file, that's fine. You could write separate files, it's up to you. First one, a customer is in a store, purchased 3 items. You have to get the price of each item, 5.5% sales tax, display the subtotal, total. So it sounds like all our variables are already spelled out for us, right? So in the template, there's a line break. Just for brevity, you can change that to whatever you want. It has a welcome. I suggest that you print some type of welcome or instructions in every script that you create, so your users know what they're using and where they're at in the script. So I'll just leave that welcome there for now. And here comes the main body, right? So you have 3 items. Item 1, 2, and 3, we need to know how much their items are. So I could simply call it item 1 equals input. And then we could say, how much is item 1? Question mark. Now, if we do this, when the user goes to put the input, they'll be typing right next to the question mark. It looks kind of sloppy. So you could do things like :/tab to give it a tab, and then prompt them with a $sign. All right. Now, we want them to be able to put in a float, so we can make it a float and just do our double things and save this, F5, and here we go. How much is item 1? You have the nice little $sign off to the side. We'll say 1.11, enter, good to go, right? So that worked. So item 1 works. So let's just cut and paste it and say item 2, item 3, change this item as well. Item 2, item 3. So now we have our 1, 2, and 3 items. They'll be prompted. We have we'll define all our variables up here. We have our tax, which equals 0.055. And what else do we have here? We have a subtotal. Subtotal is the cost of the 3 items without tax. So item 1 plus item 2 plus item 3. Gotta spell it right or it won't work, right? So there's our subtotal. And now our tax total, we have to get a tax total going here. Our tax total obviously is a subtotal. And you can do this all in a print statement, but saving them in a variable allows you to use them for later, move them to a different script, call on them separately, all kinds of fun stuff. And plus, it doesn't cost much in this scenario as far as memory, right? So there's our subtotal times the tax, and then I'll return that. And then we have a true total, which would be the subtotal plus tax total. That should be it for the math, right? So now we have to do the print statements. We have the input statements. Now let's return print do printf, and we'll say printf is print formatted strings. It allows you, since I think Python 3.8 or 3.6, to do some pretty cool stuff within the print statement itself. Calling on variables is easy. So you could say you entered, and then right here, instead of doing this, closed item 1, comma, and comma, the item 2, instead of doing all that fun stuff with all the commas, within the double quotes, you can simply put curly braces, item 1. Just separate them like this for fun. Item 2, which will be the costs. You can put and item 3. We'll see how this looks. If we don't like it, we can always change it, right? So we're letting them know what they inputted, right? And then this is, you could have fun and print all your stuff. Now, some of these things require formatting, and I'm going to discuss some different types of formatting. So you could print, and you can put the subtotal is, right? The subtotal is, and now, if you want to use round, there's a problem with round and money. So if you use the function of round and literally round your subtotal, which is your integer float, if you round it to 2 places and it ends in a 0, it's going to drop the last 0. So it'll never have it. Potentially, it won't look like money, right? Which is bad. But we'll throw that there because that's one way of how to output and format. But round isn't perfect for money. Just remember that. Another way is using the subtotal or format command. And we'll do the same thing with subtotal. Subtotal is, we'll steal this. We'll stick with subtotal for a second because I just want to show you the couple of different ways you could do it. Subtotal is, let me remember here, subtotal is this, and then you could do comma, call on the format command. Notice it turns purple. And then you could say subtotal, which is the first argument, right, or first parameter that you want to fill, format subtotal, and then you want to add the second parameter, which is the style of formatting, which would be .2f. So you're basically saying decimal point, 2 spaces, format 2 spaces to the left of the decimal point, or to the right of the decimal point, my bad. And we'll see how these look, right? I'll hit save, I'll hit F5 to run it. I'll put a 123, 2.33, 4.23. So there's what we entered. There's a subtotal, and the subtotals look the same, right? But if that last part was a 0, your round would be 7.7. And if it was a 0, it would drop it. That's what round does, right? So round may not be your primary choice. Now, there's a third way to format. I like the format command right here, personally. There's another way to do it where you could type in the style of formatting first, and then call in the format command and call on your what do you call it? Call on your variable. So we'll steal this. We'll print this. It'll say the subtotal is, comma, right? And now right here we'll have the curly braces will say two, it's going to be a whole number followed by a decimal point and two formatted places. And that's it for the format string type. Let's see, I think this has to be in quotes if I remember correctly. And then comma, or period, let's see, period. And then we use that to format, and we call on the subtotal. And I think that should be, doesn't look right. Let me see. The subtotal is quote, comma, quote, colon 2F, quote dot format subtotal. We'll give it a try. And let's put the cursor over here. And there we go. So 3 different ways to format the same output. I'm showing you 3 different ways to format because round, like I said, isn't always the best. Let's have those add up to 0 at the end. I'll show you. So hit F5 again, and I'll say 2.55. I'll say 2.55, so we get that 10 cents at the end, and then I'll put $3. Now, this is what round does. So this is why I'm showing you round is not always perfect for money, right? Now, if you want to leverage the dollar sign, there's a couple other ways that you could leverage dollar sign. You could put is, and then space, dollar sign, space, dollar sign. And you can also use the sep, the separator, in your print statement. You could use all kinds of fun stuff. But now we'll see the dollar sign populate. And there's your dollar sign. There's a space there. If you use the end parameter in print, you could remove that space because end is literally how the line or your you use sep and remove. Let's just try it. Let's do a print format, blah, 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 comma, sep equals quote, quote for no space. Save F5, we'll do the same thing, or around the same thing. And now you see the one with the sep, that space is removed. A little cleaner, a little nicer. I like that, right? Now when you look at receipts from like a gas station or a restaurant, you'll see the space and it'll bother you. Or, you'll think like, oh, they want us to spend 100 or, but you'll see little things like this where programmers got lazy, added a space here, removed the space here. They could make it look a lot prettier. Capitals, bold. You could do all kinds of stuff to make it look like a real receipt, right? But let's get back to the contents at hand here. So what we have now is I showed you 3 different ways how to format the subtotal, right? Is that all they need? No, right? They also need the total, they need the tax and the total. So we could say the subtotal is, we'll keep the same formatting, and we could just copy this line. And we'll say the tax is taxes format. We called it tax total. Tax total. And then we have the total is, and we called it total. Save F5. Let's see how this looks. I'm just typing in whatever here for values, really doesn't matter. Here we go. So we got our 3 different subtotals that we tested out. 61 cents, 61 plus 7, there's your total. So we got our tax total, output, back over the 3 that they entered. We can go in there and separate each with the dollar sign too, and have the dollar sign be put in front of this, which would actually be a little prettier if we did that, right? And that's the cool thing about using printf is you don't have to do anything fancy. You could literally do this. which is made it a lot cleaner. See how pretty that looks? Boop, boop, boop. Pretty gorgeous. And that's it, basically, for the first group exercise. Now, the second group exercise, change the tax. You remove the item 1 to only one item and ask for the total instead of each item. And you could basically cut and paste this whole code, change a couple things, and you're done. No need to rewrite everything, right? That's a beautiful thing about code. You reutilize what we started. But that should be enough to get you started. I showed you the formatting because it's also important on your individual lab. Certain things you can't have a decimal point of, like 2.67 eggs. You can't have that consistently. For every 3 eggs you have, the 2.67 will always be a different value. So that doesn't make any sense, right? Whole numbers for eggs, round it to whole numbers. You know, you have these techniques, you have the ability, you've read the material, it's in the book. Practice what's in the book, put it to practice in your group activities and in your individual lab, and you'll succeed every lesson. It's build on build. So everything we learned in lesson 1, we're going to use again in lesson 2. Everything we learned in lesson 1 and 2, we're going to use it 3, and so on and so forth. But that's it for this group activity. I'll post this video when it's done cooking. Everybody have a great day.